Smite Update podcast is proudly sponsored by Tweaked Audio. Go to tweakedaudio.com for high-performance, noise-reducing earbuds. Use the code OctanePro to get 33% off plus free shipping anywhere in the world. Check out tweakedaudio.com today. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 32 of the Smite Update for December 8th, 2013. My name is Octane Pro, and joining me, as always, is Mr. Risty. Risty, how's it going?
Yeah, it's not bad, not bad.
Oh, you got it. I thought you were muted there for a sec.
No, I didn't mute it. I stayed quiet while you were doing the intro.
For a second there, I thought you were
mute button
muted.
worked. No. Oh, no, I'm hitting glasses though now, so that's not so good. But no, I'm good.
Excellent. So you've been playing a little bit of Smite recently?
Yeah, I've got another rant to do at some point
Another
as well.
rant to do.
About the weekend. Yeah, about the game actually. Actually, it's about Hi-Rez and the way they handle it. No, what was happening at the weekend? I don't know if NA got any bit of this, but EU servers were taking a dump, and I mean absolute dump. It's really badly. Like we was getting so much lag and everything.
There were some issues, and there was like a alert message at the top of Smite Reddit that says like Smite servers are experiencing technical difficulties and lag across the board. We don't need more posts about it, thanks. So I guess they they are recognizing, hey, we knew that we had some problems there,
Yeah, what my issue with it is also the fact that it wasn't recording the league matches. So when you realised after about 4 or 5 matches, you was like, why isn't my progress getting recorded? Now,
because you're talking about the replay system with replays.
Well, no, not the replays. It didn't record the match stats at all. So like you won a match, it didn't record it. It didn't save any of the information, so it was getting annoying. Now, what I was sitting there thinking, I was like, right, okay, I've gone to Reddit. People have said about it. We know it's an issue. What I'd like to see is on the home screen, there'll be like a little box. You got all the other, like the stream boxes, the other box.
Yeah, like
alert box saying there's a server issue. But then Yeah, just something like that, and then it takes you, so you don't have to clutter the information up. Just saying there's a server like issue. Click on that, and then it'll go what issues they're experiencing, like a certain thing, like matches not saving and server lags, and then we know. Because also the fact that I spent like 2 days not playing because I don't know when it was going to get fixed. It wasn't even fixed this morning. It was horrendous. So I'd like that to be added in, just so I know when the game's fixed. So they can put that up. We know straight away on the homepage while we're queuing up. We're like, server's broken. I won't bother with League at the minute. And then when that goes off, I can play again. So there's my little rant. So
no, I can understand that. So we can get more into that here coming up in the show here. Guys, those of you guys just joining us, thank you for checking out the Smite Update podcast. We're going to go ahead and go through community news, esports update, review the Nuwa patch, kind of going over a little bit here and there regarding some of the details that did come out this past week with that. And then we'll go ahead and do our God review section of 3 gods. And then we'll go ahead and close out the show. Let's go. I also want to remind you guys to check out the audio version. If you guys aren't familiar, we have an audio version on iTunes. Some people have found us through there. Some people have found us directly through YouTube or through Twitch. But we do have an iTunes version. So if you aren't able to catch the live show, check us out on iTunes. Just go ahead and look up Smite Update. It's on there. Our logo is actually Cali. And has the Smite Update text above it. And also go ahead and if you're on the Android platform, don't worry, I haven't forgot about you. Download a program like BeyondPod, which is like an podcast program that allows you to find podcasts and just search for Smite Update. You can find it on there. I know there's a few other ones out there. I use BeyondPod. I really like it, so I would recommend that you guys check that out. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into the community news section of the show. And with that, the first thing, which is kind of an announcement. You know what? It's kind of an announcement, but it's also kind of my thing per se. And the reason I say it is something that I'm involved in. There was myself and working with a few other people have launched the website SmiteShop.com. And I'll go ahead and put a link in chat to the Reddit article on SmiteShop.com. I just launched it today. And it's with the collaboration between myself, Hi-Rez Studios, and Child's Play. And it is a Smite t-shirt website. Has men's and women's t-shirts. We will be moving into other apparel sweatshirts, stuff like that, hats, stuff like that too, coming over the next few weeks. But it is a collaboration with Smite Shop and Child's Play, so 50% of all of the sales proceeds will go to the Child's Play charity. So if you buy a shirt, any sales proceeds made off of that shirt, 50% of it goes towards Child's Play. Furthermore, we've been collaborating with Hi-Rez Studios on. They've allowed us to use the logo for Smite, so they've been working with us on some of the designs of the T-shirts, and so it's pretty cool to check out. You do have the ability to customize the shirts too. So if you go on there and go, oh, cool, a shirt website. And I like this shirt per se, but I want to change the text to say something different. You can completely customize the text. You can't alter the graphics, but you can customize the text to whatever you want, to say anything you want. You can add things to the shirts as well, but the original design stays the same. So check it out. I put a link in chat, and you could just go ahead and go online and look up SmiteShop.com and check that out. I know Risty's been eyeing up a few. I know he wants a few.
There was a couple of funny ones that as I was flicking through, I was like, yeah, that's good. And there's like the diamond in the rough somewhere. You just kind of, you go through them, you go, yeah, these are quite good. And then all of a sudden there's that one that you'll just go, bang, must have it. So yeah, it's definitely, you should check it out. It's all good to see.
Yeah, it's actually been kind of cool. Some of the competitive teams have actually reached out to me regarding wanting to contribute to the charity, and the way they're looking to contribute is to give Smite Shop the rights to use their logo and to logo a shirt up with their logo, and then allow any sales proceeds to go directly to the charity. So there's been a few teams interested. So it's worked out pretty well, and we'll have to see how it goes. It will run between now.
We can start buying team shirts like footballers.
That's right, exactly. You can start buying some of the teams that you favor the most, and it'll be good though too, because then as we start to approach the major LAN tournament in March with the release of Smite, maybe we can have our Smite fan base a little bit better outfitted with some Smite apparel. So should be pretty cool. We'll kind of see how that works out. So that was the first thing, and then I know Risty has a few community things to go over as well.
Well, I got rid of one because I thought it was terrible, but there's another one. Well, what it was actually, it was just something that I saw on Reddit. It was just a little post that's like, what's the most scariest sound that you can hear when you're in Smite? So like some of the examples were when you're running away, Alquan's ultimate going off, because you can't turn around and actually look where it's going, and you're just like, oh God, where is it gonna go? So you either juke to the left, juke to the right. You just like random. And then there's Loki's stealth. I definitely know when I hear that. It's like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And then all of a sudden it's behind you. Bang. Aim strike to the back. But
the worst is when you hear that, like, and he's in like the jungle somewhere, and you're like, okay, where is the gank? I know it's coming. Where's it gonna come from? Because like, if you're gonna use the CC, like you're Anubis and you're gonna use your Mummify, or you're gonna pop like a Combat Blink, or you're gonna use a Frost Breath Ymir, like you're trying to figure out which direction it is, and you have no clue.
Yeah, it's just that sound. Or the fact that you hear like arachne spiders going down in the jungle, you're like, oh dear God, this is gonna hurt. Especially if you're slowed already, because I've had that a few times where I've been slowed and then I hear the spiders and I'm like, oh, here we go, and then I'm just yanked through a wall. It's like, crap. That's a great little post that was up there. There's the other one here that's Todd Harris did an interview with Geek, is it Tyrant, talking about just like the Smite's released, Minotaur replacement. I actually have to read through that because I haven't seen that part. Just some like improved artwork and so on and so forth like that. I mean,
I was taking a look at that. It was kind of interesting because one of the questions someone had asked was actually the first question, which had to do with, what made you guys decide to launch Smite on, beginning of like Q2, March 25th. What made you decide to wait till then or to do it then? And he said it came down to three things. One, it came down to making it, a better experience for brand new players. So they wanted to make it, available and easy for people to pick up. Second, they talked about the art polish, which makes complete sense. They've overhauled so much in the game so far. And then finally, the quality of life, meaning like little things like, example, we just saw this past patch regarding the Smite friends list being altered and changed up a little bit. So it looks like those three things are what have delayed Smite from launching until now. It wasn't necessarily, and they talked about it wasn't like, okay, we don't have enough gods to release, or we want to release X amount of gods. Which makes sense, though, because originally Talk on the Town was like, okay, 40 gods was the release. Well, that wasn't the case. They weren't basing it off of gods. They were basing it off of these 3 items. So it's a really cool interview. You guys should go check it out. Anything else stand out from you in that interview? You mentioned the Minotaur, and I'm really surprised about that, a possible replacement for the Minotaur.
It just says that the Minotaur, something about, here we go. Another thing that category is the end bosses and the Minotaur end bosses. All right, so the art team's kind of working on that. So we might see a Minotaur change coming up.
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen one for a while.
Yeah, there hasn't been a huge art overhaul for the Minotaur. And if they say end bosses, it makes me believe that different game modes will have different types of bosses to like enemy bosses. For example, like Conquest might have Minotaur, whereas something like 3v3 could have something else. You know what I mean? Or
that could be good.
thing.
Yeah, I don't mind.
You know what I mean? Like it's not necessary, but it'd be cool to kind of make things a little bit more unique. So like when you kill a Minotaur, okay, that's just Conquest related. It's not related to any other of the game modes. So there's a few options that they could specifically go into. All right, so that's pretty much all the community stuff we got for this week, right, Risty?
Yeah, that's it. I couldn't find anything else. It's just
that's fine.
Just not a lot to be found.
Okay, and this past weekend we had our next section is the esports update, and we had the North American tournament yesterday, which was the 7th of December. It was the Hi-Rez North American 5vs5 tournament, and some surprising results in here. Exertus got first, Denial second, Team Dignitas third, and Last Resort fourth. I mean, first thing that stands out there to me is, wow, Team Dignitas wasn't even in the grand finals. This is not the first week that we've seen them kind of get bumped. And then second, Exertus doing so well.
Yeah, they've been they've been at the top there for ages. I'm actually just checking the brackets and see who knocked out Team Dignitas, to be honest. But Exertus have been doing pretty well.
Yeah, if you guys want to check it out, it's at esports.smitegame.com. That's actually where we're going over to and checking out for the North American side. You can jump in there and see the tournament.
It was Exodus Esports that actually knocked out Team Dignitas as well in the semi-finals. So they knocked them out and Denial.
Yeah, I'm really surprised about that. Like they had a really, really good week, it looks like. So good for them. I mean, they played in the 3vs3 tournament this past week and did very well in the 3vs3 tournament too. Excuse me. So we're starting to see them get a little bit more involved within the different tournaments in the community. And so that was North American side. On the EU side, we actually saw the Fanboys get first, Woot and Mama second, Mortality Esports EU third, and then Epsilon Esports fourth. So I was kind of surprised there as well to see Mortality Esports, which is Mortality is pretty much one of the top 2 European teams right now, and I'm really surprised to see that they were pushed down to third. Now, what I am seeing here again is SK Gaming not competing this week.
No, SK Gaming changed names.
They did.
They've changed names. It's begins with A.
SK Gaming changed names, or the players left SK Gaming and for another team.
Well, I don't know if the association got rid of them and they just made a different team, or they left the association that way. I'm not 100%. I am just trying to find the actual name for it now.
Yeah, because it looks like the last tournament that they actually competed in was 3 weeks ago. SK Gaming competed, and that's the one where they actually had to forfeit because they were having technical issues and taking too long to get prepped. And that was on November 17th. That was number 29.
Yeah, it's Azure, AZZUR is the new team name. So the fact that they're not SK Gaming anymore, I'd say either the team's been dropped, or they left. And to be honest,
sure. Yeah, I guarantee that I don't know if they would be dropped though. They probably left.
I'd guess they've been dropped.
Yeah,
to be honest,
I don't know. I mean, it's really hard. It's really hard to get dropped unless you do a lot.
Well, you never know. SK might not like the adverse publicity that was coming to the teams just through ranting over Reddit.
Yeah, there was. I mean, there wasn't, because there was so much people bit. You know what? And it makes sense because look at the timing. It was right around Tencent, the Tencent Games Carnival, when like I forget who it was on SK Gaming that was bitching that they weren't going compared to someone else. And it was like, really? Like, what happened there? Like, somebody in chat says, pretty sure they got dropped. All they do is complain anymore. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, I know that there was somebody, I forget who it was on Reddit, that had this huge article complaining and, like, starting to, like, fuel the fire regarding why was
Well, I know it is, but I'd leave them nameless.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I've ranted enough about him before, so I'll leave it there.
I'm just really surprised there. I mean, I'm surprised that we didn't hear anything more about it. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, I think it was just a quiet drop. They're not going to publicize that they've actually dropped it.
Yeah, because I'm looking on their site. There's nothing under their news category, which I guess that's not, like, crazy news there. But, yeah, I'm not really sure.
I suppose if you publicize it, people are going to ask, so why did you drop them?
Well, yeah, but that's important, though. I mean, it's important for them to be like, well, this is why we dropped them, and kind of give you an idea as to, what was going on there. So yeah, I mean, that was kind of the results for the EU tournament. That was played this morning. And fanboys first, so a nice job there. Happy to hear them do so well. Let's see, let's see here. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the patch notes this past week, which was the Nuwa patch, the Guardian of Heaven.
Can I just say, they put her that Guardian of Heaven and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. This just, for common sense, and everybody else that watched the video probably went, yeah, it's Mother Nature. Come on. It's Mother Nature. Well, that's pretty much
it is Mother Nature, you could say, but this is the Chinese version. Once again,
yeah, I know. But that was just all that come to mind. And I'm sitting there, and as well, I love the way that different cultures have got like their elements done, because we've obviously got, like, the Western side is Earth, Fire, Wind, Water. Captain Planet.
I noticed that as well, but her elements are different.
Yeah, hers ones are the Chinese elements. They are obviously the metal,
it's like
water, metal, wood.
It's earth, fire, water, wood, metal. Something else.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But
anyways, so the kind of lore behind Nuwa is that there was this great battle between good and evil, whatever, and heaven was being, I guess, ripped open, and Nuwa went ahead and, I guess the way it works is like she pulled a leg off a tortoise, and
the world pillar.
And the world pillar, and helped to like hold the separation up between heaven and earth, and then repaired it using the elements, the 5 elements, which that's what are talked about, and that's why we see her passive, which has to do with the elemental crystals. And
you got to think that's one massive turtle. Really?
Oh yeah,
took one leg.
Right.
All right. Yeah, that's got to be a big turtle.
And so a few things about Nuwa, just to kind of put it out there, is that Tencent had asked Hi-Rez to redo some of the, some of the early game gods. And at first I was like floored about this and pretty frustrated to hear that a partnered publishing company was like trying to tell Hi-Rez what to do, and they weren't. They were asking, and at first it caught me off guard though, because Tencent asked them, "Hey, we'd like you to redo some of these gods," and that's why we saw the huge overhaul with the Chinese gods as well. But Tencent knew what they were doing when it come down to the Games Carnival, and they wanted the Chinese gods to look badass. They're trying to sell the game. They're trying to promote the game, and so another god that came out, which makes sense, just the timing of the Tencent Games Carnival. Because think of it from a marketing perspective, you have the Tencent Games Carnival, you introduce Smite into a brand new culture for the game, and then the next following patch that comes out for the update is another Chinese god. It makes sense. It's perfect. You know, like
and the fact that it fits in better. The redos that they've done, they've changed the lore ever so slightly and make it fit better with obviously the Chinese relations, because there's a lot of stuff like the Sun Wukong lore that they completely changed. Yeah. And a few other bits fit more with actually the more traditional Chinese lore, as well as like Hebo, the Yellow River, and all that stuff. Kind of, it fit a lot more and wasn't good. Because to us Westerners, we look at that and go, "Oh yeah, okay, Hebo, yeah, fair enough." Yeah. But to them, they'll go, "No, they've got that wrong, or they've got that wrong," and that would be how it starts. So they fixed that up a bit there. Basically, took out all the plot holes out of it. So it's nice to see.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, I'll go ahead and throw it over to Risty, and we don't necessarily have to read word for word regarding like what her abilities are, but we can talk about them. So why don't you go through and just try to explain some of her abilities?
So for a passive, we got elemental crystals. You'll see down on like the above a character or avatar and stuff like that that you'll have 5 indicators. Now you'll have one that's lit up all the time, which is your earth crystal that gives you plus 10 HP 5, well 10 health every 5 seconds. So that's just always up. The way it kind of all works though, that every time you use an ability, they have an associated crystal. There's 5 crystals altogether. Obviously, the green one's always up, and then the other 4 just allocate to everything else. They stay up for 10 seconds, and if you use them all, spam out all your abilities in one hit, you'll transform into her true form, which is her snake form, and then the passives will refresh for another 10 seconds. Each circle lasts for 10 seconds, so if you kind of time it right, you can get one to last for about 20 seconds, but that's about it. So moving on to like a first skill, which is actually a very underrated skill from what I could kind of see at the minute. Fog, just Noir, she kind of makes a mist around her that stealths her. Kind of like, not quite a Loki stealth, but you can't see where she is, but it's in a circle. Now, she gets increased movement speed when this happens, and because of her... I should also add as well, each crystal that gets activated, it's a passive aura. So if you get the bonus, your allies get the bonus around you as well. So for the fog, it's the water crystal, and that's an increased movement speed.
Yeah.
Now, you get the fog that follows around you, which is like a circle. Now, anyone standing in that fog is stealthed as well. No one can see. So if you're in there on your own, you can juke around quite a bit. But to be aware that everyone else can see the circle. Now, what's completely underrated about this is everyone goes, yeah, but you know where she is. She's always there. Imagine you cannot be seen through wards while you use this ability. So you can cover a 5-man team from like your movement speed buff straight up to the Gold Fury or anything like that, or anywhere across the map, and you can have your team actually within the circle, and no one's going to realize there's 5 players there. That is the strength of it, and that's be an interesting thing. Or you could stealth one extra person, like a tank, up to a tower and backdoor a tower. That could work out quite well. And it's just a few things like that. There was also actually one post on Reddit I saw just before I come on that someone did like the most brilliant little idea. When you're running along, you go towards another character while you're in the stealth, and you actually use the blink to blink behind the other character. They think you're in the circle, but you're behind them. Yeah, that could be quite funny. So
I mean, I've something about her fog, which is pretty cool. I mean, I like the stealth ability of it. You can still hit the person when they are in the fog, like. If you're Ares and you want to hit them with your shackle, you just have to aim for the center of the fog and hit them. So you can still do damage to them. So if you see the fog on the ground, you can still focus it. It's not like it's not invulnerability. It's just being invisible, but there's still this fog that moves around with it. And it's not something that is above the ground fog. It's just on the ground. What are your thoughts on how that's designed? Like, would you prefer it to be above ground, like so that like it actually like is a fog that you like can't see through? Or do you like the way it's designed now?
It fits the way it's designed. The way it's done is so it doesn't put a load on the graphics, because if you put more particle effects in there, it'll end up putting more load on the computers. The way it's done, it just removes the graphics. So you know the circle's there, and you know where the mist is, and you know where the players will be, kind of, but you haven't had to add all this extra special effects. So it kind of works out a little bit better. Now all I see is that happening, and someone with Hilo and Water Spout and goes straight in the centre. Boing! Knocks up a few players. That'll do. And crack off. But it's very weird when you first play it. You're like, yeah, okay. It's more... I definitely see, with the way all her skills work, she's going to be more of a coordinated team god. She's not going to be like a solo... I'm just going to pub stomp kind of god or like hold stuff. She's definitely going to be a team orientated one. If you've got a good set of teamwork, you could pull off some really crazy stuff with it. Other than that,
and I mean, I think the second ability kind of goes more towards like what she is, and she's very much a support, but also she's a pusher, and you can actually see that like under the benefits, like the pros for her. It says like very good at pushing, and she has this ability called Clay Soldier.
Do you know the funny thing is? She's
that?
absolutely terrible at pushing. Horrendously terrible. She is just like,
I don't know necessarily. I mean, I think it all comes down to how you play it, because I played against some people where they were just amazing with the Clay Soldier ability, and the Clay Soldier ability summons a Clay Soldier depending on what level the ability is. So like level 1, you go tier 1 level, you have 1 soldier, 2, and then 3, 4, 5, whatever, and it summons a Clay Soldier with 200 health to fight for you. 200 plus 20% of Nuwa's maximum health. So it depends how you build her. Because I was trying to look into this a little bit more and how people were playing her, and some people were playing her very much like a magical power mage, whereas other people were actually building like crazy health, and then going solo with her, and as she's going, a lot of health and a lot of sustain, it allowed her to push the lane very well because the Clay Soldiers had so much more health because of the fact that she stacked health appropriately. And you only conjure the Clay Soldiers, 1, if you're in a pinch, or 2, to fight alongside the minions of that lane, So yeah.
Someone saying it's easiest lane pushes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get to that point there. So someone in chat. Yeah, the Clay Soldiers kind of, the damage on them sucks a bit. They are more as just like tanks. Like they do 20 per damage per hit. Now, I did kind of use them a bit, but obviously I did the Freya build or the full build, like mage build, like the different types, like the auto attack build or the full ability damage builds. Trying out. I never tried the max health. That one kind of didn't spring to mind. I might have to give that one a go. But then I kind of feel the rest of the skills would be completely lacking after that because you've built more health. The damage on them kind of just is really low for what I feel.
They're meant to be dummies. Like if you think of it, the benefit I see too, and the reason they call her a pusher, is because think of it this way. You know how usually you want to push a tower, but you have to wait for your minions to arrive.
Yeah.
Instead, you pop your Clay Soldiers, have them run in, and then you could damage the tower even before the minions arrive to go ahead and lend additional support. So it's a utility ability. It's not necessarily a, hey, I'm going to pop, it's not like she's like a necromancer and summoning a bunch of like, summoning a bunch of creatures to be like badass and fight for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, yeah. I don't know about that one. I'll give that one a look. I've never tried. I like the idea.
Yeah.
I just feel, yeah, it's kind of this. Next skill, what that does is the Earth Ruin as well. So when you pop that ability, you get an extra physical protection. So that's what that adds to the passive. The third ability is probably the most interesting one that I've seen. It's kind of like a proper stacked ability, Flame Strike. Yeah. So Flame Strike, just think of like the water spout kind of thing without the knock up. It stuns people. It does damage in. It also activates your basic attacks to do an AoE damage for 50%. Everyone in 15 feet of the radius of whatever you hit with your basic attacks does 50% of the damage. Now, this is kind of where I went about the split pushing a little bit. Oh, actually, and another thing on that as well. It actually damages towers.
Yes.
It damages towers. It's the only ability in the game that will damage a tower. I feel they've done that because she has got nothing else to damage the towers.
Come on now.
I don't rate a damage as very high. I've yet to be shown something that I'll be like, I've completely got her wrong. But yeah, that'll see. It's good. It's got a stun. She can do some alright damage of it, but I had to do mage build. And when I was in a lane with anyone that has any half decent push, like solo lane, mid lane,
sure.
If anything, you'd probably want to actually be the full support. Is what I could see, because you'd need someone to help push the lane with. Sure. She had struggled. She absolutely struggled. I had to spend so much time on the creeps that I couldn't actually do anything. And stuns the towers. Yes.
So let's go ahead and go over that third ability that we for her.
Yeah, I've just lost sound. There we go. All right. So yeah, it does alright damage. Yeah. But I'd like it to do. I'd like the basic attacks to do more. Basically, sometimes if you build full like Freya build, still no damage. You don't get nowhere near. But then if you build full mage build, the actual Flame Strike does a lot of damage.
Well, why don't you explain what that is as we're going through this here?
I did say it, didn't I? It just okay. So the flame strike is just like a small AoE on the ground, very small, like the Hebo water spout. It ignites for structures and enemies, stun them for a second, and then does a dot damage over that. Also slowing them as well, I think is there. No, it just stuns them. Just stuns them. But also an interesting mechanic on it. It does more damage the closer to you that it actually is. So if it's right up by your feet, it'll actually do an extra 50% damage. And if it's a bit further away, it scales down, obviously.
Sure.
But then it obviously adds the basic attacks that I was saying about the splash damage to the basic attacks. So.
Yeah, what do you think about the stun? Do you think it's kind of hard to hit, or do you think it's pretty easy?
No, it's fairly easy to hit, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I love the stun, and I love the damage. I feel like Flame Strike's like one of her stronger abilities.
It's like her only nuke skill that I feel that she's got. Really, it's the only like damaging skill. Like Clay Soldiers is more of a fair enough a lane pusher or creep blocker or just something to try and like defensively. Well, you could use it offensively, like for push and stuff like that. Fog's utility, Flame Strike's your only real damage apart from your ultimate. So yeah, it works there. I'd definitely put her in more of the support section at the moment. Really.
Yeah.
So do you like? Other than Flame Strike, do you like that? Yeah.
I like Flame Strike. I like the amount of damage that it's doing right now. I don't think it's too strong because it's one of her really, as you said, it's a really one of very few nuking abilities that she does have. So I like the ability. I don't think the damage is too much. I actually think it's at a really good setting. I think it combos pretty well actually with Pillars of Heaven, which is her ultimate, and the Pillars of Heaven pretty much creates this box, and I hate it. I don't like the design of it. It's just, I don't know.
The actual pillars that come up?
Yeah, the pillars that come up are just a pain in the ass, like, because you can't run, the pillars actually have some consistency, so you can't run through them. Like, they're, which makes sense, I guess, but the pillars, those of you guys aren't familiar, there's 4 pillars. It's just a box, okay, with kind of this, like, lightning effect around the box, and, if you put it on someone, it's pretty large. I mean, it's fairly large. I mean, it takes up about 3/4 of a lane, and it allows, if you're in the box, you're fine, but if you run outside the box, you take damage, or vice versa. What I think with her ultimate though is I think that you should take damage regardless if you're passing through the fields or not. If you're in the box or going through if you're in the box, it should be a different damage versus if you're running through the walls. The reason being is because I feel like the box is fine, but all somebody has to do is just stand still and they'll be okay. Now, granted, you as an ally can go ahead and, push forward to do damage, but I feel like there needs to be more damage being dealt directly inside that box. Do you feel as well, or do you think? No, because that would be too strong.
I did think that at first, and then I went for what she is. Like I was saying, she's more of a support. This is more of like a team fight sort of ultimate. It's on a very really low cooldown. It's on like a 60-second cooldown. I need to just double check the actual time. Yeah, it is a 60-second cooldown. So it's like an Odin ring, but it actually hurts when people leave it. So if you can think of it like dropping it around a group of enemies, and then hitting them with a Kraken. You have to leave through the slow or the wall to take damage, or get hit by the Kraken, or get hit by the Kraken and take the damage from the slow. But it's more of a control thing in team fights. It's one of them things though. When your team fight happens, I find it very difficult to avoid the walls if it's placed correctly, because it's just like you're just moving, and all of a sudden you're like, crack him in the wall. And sometimes you'll even go react slowly. React quick enough, but you've hit the wall and then go back through the wall again. It's like, no, I've been hit twice. So it's it's useful that way. Yeah.
Well, think of Odin's ult. When he ults, it keeps you within it. I mean, I guess there's 2 things. When Odin ults with his Ring of Spears, you can't get out of it unless you have a leap. But he does get a buff per se for himself. Now with the Pillars of Heaven, you don't need a leap to get out of it. You can run out of it, but you take damage. But there's no benefit to her. It's just a contain almost. So, I mean, I don't know.
I've just thought of a blatant counter for it, which
What's
is
that?
we'll go into more detail about it later. But it's the new Aegis change.
Oh yeah. Well, the new
Bang
item. Yep.
out. See you later. It's
Yeah.
like, well, so much
But
for
like the
that.
damage that you get when you run through it is not
Not
insane.
that
So
much.
like you're not afraid to run through it. It's like, okay, do I sit in here or do I run away? Well, let's look at the situation I'm in. Well, is the enemy about to collapse on me? I'm gonna run through it and I'll be okay. It's
It's
kind of
well,
weird.
then
Or
that
if it,
comes down to when the player uses it, like player
yeah,
skill, when, where to use it. And also,
yeah,
someone put up about Fenrir. I thought that would be quite funny. Could you imagine Fenrir grabbing someone in the mouth and walking back and forth?
yeah, right. Just back and forth, take them. I mean,
That would be funny as hell.
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, her as solo,
No.
uh, uh, isn't bad. I mean, I guess my thought is with her is that like I played her first, not like through like a practice game. Just got in, checked out her abilities, and went ahead to see what it's like, and I was like, okay, she's not bad. Then I went ahead and played my first game with her. I was horrible, like horrible with her. With the first game, did you play her at all, or no? Did you
Yeah,
just
I
play
played her a
against
couple of
her?
times. There was the first time I went the Freya build,
Yeah,
no damage. Even in team, I had like full three. I got up to about 5 items, and I was
yeah,
still doing no damage on my auto attacks. Even when I had my flame strike and extra bonus damage up and everything like that, just non-existent. So I had to go for the more mage build, like
yeah,
Poseidon Agni sort of build. Um, that worked. That did a lot of damage, but then you still was like, I just feel she's very lacking. She's more of a control god than a damage god, really.
sure,
She
sure.
literally is. She's there to throw down that ultimate to lock people in, stun them, and let the rest of the team blow them up. That's pretty
Yeah,
much what she's there for. I
yeah.
don't feel
No,
she's much anything else.
yeah, that's a good point. Moving on from there, we had three new skins. The Amnesty skin for Nuwa, the Golden Thanatos, and the Golden Zhangqi. So they're slowly rolling out more and more of those golden skins. We do have a secondary voice pack for Nuwa, and then we kind of have our general section. So I'll let Risty kind of start
Yeah.
out here with picking a few things he'd like to talk about.
They overhauled the friends list. Now it's got like it's at the bottom right now on your screen, and then it actually opens up and makes it a bit larger and everything like that. If you actually click on it, you
Sure.
can see more of friends. It's much easier to actually get to. And why am I getting sound through that? Okay, it's much easier to actually get to.
You
What I
loaded
did
your
see
Smite up
someone.
too, didn't you?
Well, I've already got Smite loaded up. That's why the
Okay.
sound's kind of stuck through my speakers, so I'll have to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but it goes up and it's in a nice place. But I saw someone on Reddit go, "There's a gap on the UI. Can we not just have it in that gap?" And I was like, "That makes complete perfect sense.
Yeah.
Could you work at Hi-Rez, please?" So,
Oh yeah, right,
yeah.
right. Well,
So,
I will have to say this is the first time I got to see how many friends I have on Smite. 634.
really,
I was like, oh my goodness, I have accepted way too many friend requests. But yeah, so I like the friends list, but yes, it is kind of in the way. It needs to go off to the right. I like that idea here. I want a search feature too. I guess there's a filter there, so you do have the filter, so that is there. Let's see. I'm trying to see. Now, where's your pending request though?
you probably still have to go into social somewhere. It might come up at the top. I haven't.
Yeah, I don't have anyone right now.
No, I'll remove and add you and see what happens.
Sounds
But
good.
yeah, so it was just an interesting to see. The funny thing is, they don't need to add. There is the blocked names. I feel that's a bit. Well, I suppose it's just there anyway, and
I mean, I
it
guess
needs-
it's nice to keep track of it. I got somebody in there. um, but I mean, it's nice to have that specifically. Did you delete me and re-add me?
I'm just doing it.
Okay.
Did I do it? Yeah.
Oh no, I
must
haven't
have.
seen anything. Oh, there it is, right there. Okay, it comes up at the top next to where it
Oh,
says
okay.
friends. It comes up in yellow and says one friend pending. So then I can
Oh,
click on this
okay.
little icon here, and that's the invite. So where it says one friend pending. Well, how do I see the friend? Okay, I'm sorry. It says one friend pending at the top in yellow, but I don't see.
Maybe you have to scroll down and find my name.
Like, do I go down to like? Let me filter by. Okay, yes, I have to go down and find your name. That should okay.
Oh, really?
You should be at the very top. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? All friend requests
Yeah,
should
like
be at the top.
the new one.
And I could accept it, and then we're kind of good to go. I just
Especially when you've
accepted it,
got a
and it's still...
name that
So I just
long.
accepted it. Hang on. There we go. It's not accepting now, which is awesome. When I click the green checkbox, it's not doing anything.
All right.
That is so good. Yeah, I'm noticing that right now. Like when I'm looking at it right now, it says your name. Well, first off, for some reason, it has another player there. It's like I'm not doing anything. Like I'm typing in your name. Okay, I filtered out everybody but your name, and I click the green check. Nothing happens. I'll send that back to Hi-Rez and being like, yeah, friends list isn't working.
You broke it.
I broke it.
Yeah.
I broke it.
So that was that got changed. We also had the new tutorial the new user tutorial got changed. I actually really like this as well. It's on the Joust map. You now play Neath, so it gets all the eye candy for the little boys and stuff like that. It's nice, appealing to watch. You either look Ra or Neath's ass. I'd much prefer Neath's ass. Yes. So there we go. But no, it goes through a lot better on how to get through, how to do damage, what you got to do with towers, what minions are there for, how to actually use them to tank and everything. So it actually works really well and how to use the store. So it's definitely a good new user experience as well. Probably, yeah, it was needed because remember what the Ra one was like. It wasn't that good. I've tried all the recent ones that they've actually done, but yeah, that was actually quite nice. We've also got DirectX 11.
Oh,
it's horrible.
Oh, it's horrible. So here's my story. Here's my story. You can tell yours. So I forgot they did DirectX 11, and I went to a local LAN party this weekend. Just a handful of guys. We do a LAN party like once every 2 months, and play a lot of Smite on Friday night. And my buddy was like, "Oh, did you try out DirectX 11 yet?" And I'm like, "No." And so he has an older gaming rig, so he was running it on anti-analyzing at X2. And I was like, okay, well, my PC is plenty beefy. I'll run it on X8. So I ran it on X8, and I changed the settings while we were in queue. Queue popped, and I went to click accept. Nothing happened. Like, I can't click anything. I literally could not click, like, any of the accept buttons for any of the queues. Like, it wouldn't allow me to. And at first, I thought I missed it. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'll re-queue. So I waited another, like, 3 minutes. Hit accept. Tried to hit accept. Nothing. It wouldn't work. So I actually moved it down from like 8 to 2 to be like, okay, does that work? Same exact thing. So I mean, it looked awesome. It looked very clean, like real crisp look to it, very sharp. But it doesn't interface right. Like, it doesn't work at all. I don't know if you need to turn on DirectX. And you know what? It even tells you to leave the game and come back in, and I did that. Still doesn't correct it. So I completely turned off DirectX 11 and was like, I am not going to play with this if it's so buggy.
What was your experience? Was alright. It was more my FPS just went down to about 40.
Oh, really?
So
well, yes. Well, you have to remember, you're like making the game like 100 times better looking graphically when you do that.
Yeah, it looks good.
So it's not meant for like what graphics card do you have?
78 7850.
Okay. So you have like a 7000 series, so it should run pretty well. I mean, you shouldn't really have too many issues with it, I would think. I'm surprised because I was gonna say if you have like I don't know, a 6000 series or older, like I could see it do a little bit to your frames per second, but not not that drastically. That's a lot.
Yeah. So, but I normally had like vertical sync on. I'd always just have it on like
to be
like
capped out at 60. Yep.
Yeah. So when I went down to 40, it wasn't that bad. But before, normally Smite can run at about 120. Well, it says that, but the monitor never actually copes with that, so it doesn't really matter.
Sure.
So no, it was. So I eventually, I felt something wasn't right, so I just turned it off. So it was quite buggy with ×4. Apparently, I was hearing was the worst one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, from what I was hearing, it's quite bad. But no, that was the stat. It was just apparently it's poorly optimized. People were thinking, and it just needs improvements. It's the first rendition in, and nothing really works first time. From our experience, anyway. Sometimes no, I'm not even going to go there. I was going to be like diplomatic and go, sometimes they're all right, but no. So that was that change.
We also had here some the background of some of the God screens and home screen were modified. I actually like it. I think it looks pretty good.
I think it looks really good, but then I've always got something that I don't like. Right? Of course, you know me. There's always something.
You're a typical user. Come on now.
I am. That's what I am going to be on this show and stuff like that. I am going to be the typical arrogant user that
I thought I was
some
that
bits,
guy.
but I also hate this.
Now
So,
you're that guy. I thought it was me, but it's you now.
I love the stand with all like the glow around it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
The sliding background, I'd much prefer the last one because I
Okay.
did like the lightning going off in the background or the blue sky and stuff like that. That looked pretty
Yeah.
cool. But now the new stands look good.
Yeah, the
Also,
stand
I
is so
don't.
much better because you can actually see the gods perfectly now. It's zoomed
I'd
out
like.
and a little bit nicer compared to before. Like sometimes you wouldn't even see all the gods because they'd be like past you, like the way it was like set up.
Yeah. I think they need to kind of move it out slightly because when you've locked in and everything like that, the bottom of the selection screen, where obviously the skin's on, covers the bottom of your pedestal. I'm like,
Oh, okay.
and just move it out ever so slightly so we can see
Yeah.
the whole pedestal and
Sure.
it'd actually look a bit better than that. So
Yeah.
it's little tweaks like that I'd like them to change. But other than
Yeah, I
that,
mean it's a
nah,
good start. It's a good start.
but no, the stand looks good. I do like them.
Sure. We also had some changes here. Jump was enabled now for all gods.
Everybody.
Did you try to jump with Nuwa though? I don't know that. Is it working with Nuwa? Maybe it was just me.
It is apparently. It says it on there.
Okay. I
But
couldn't
I am
remember. I
gonna
thought
go-
I tried it. It wasn't working, but maybe I was mistaken. But so jumps activated for everyone now, which is great. What else do we have here? When in a party and in queue, you will no longer be able to change your loading portrait.
Oh, no, it's irrelevant. It's more
that
you
must have
can't
been-
flick from bronze and stuff like that.
Yeah, that must have
I
been
honestly
causing a problem.
leave it at default because apparently the gold one doesn't really do anything extra apart from
Okay.
the fact if you've got a gold skin, it leaves the gold one on. But if you leave
Okay.
it on default, it leaves that on anyway.
Mhm.
So it's completely irrelevant. And then the bronze one works, but I'm not in bronze anymore. I want silver. So it's like, well, I'm not going to put bronze if I'm in silver. So what's
Yeah.
the point? So I just leave it default now. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I can see that.
Uh,
What else we got
change-
here? Anything else for general?
I love this one that I wish I'd have known about and I'd have just caned Assault. Fixed a rare issue where someone could be assigned an unreleased god in Assault.
That's ridiculous.
How
would you
cool
like to
would
be-
that have been?
How would you have liked to
would've-
be that person? That would have been
Wouldn't it?
ridiculous.
That'd be great. Could you imagine if you? Could you imagine being against the new god when you're like, what the hell is that? And then all of a sudden
Yeah.
it rips you apart because the
That's
numbers
right.
are not balanced.
That would be
It would be so
awesome.
fun. So yeah, I like that one. But they fixed that unfortunately, and now there we go. Love it. Okay,
Unfortunately,
the free god rotation was changed as well. It's now Bastet, Hades, Ebo, Tyr, and Shibalong. There's a
Yeah.
nice little one to go on. We'll see more Hades and Bastet getting some love.
Yeah.
A few of the other ones, so it'll be quite good to actually see.
Yeah, we also had some of our new items here. We were actually talking about Aegis, the Aegis amulet,
buff.
getting a little changes here. First off, it has two variations of two tier 3 variations, and we've seen this a lot. A lot of the items kind of getting this overhaul. Some people have argued, hey, are we getting to a point where you have too many items or too few? I don't know. I think we're at a good point still. I mean, there is definitely that threshold that you can have too many items, I feel like.
Yeah,
where-
as long as they kind of stick into like two split the top tier into two items per item, that's not
Yeah.
a problem. When you start probably splitting it to like three items, then you might be going,
Sure.
yeah, this is a bit much. Or if they had another tier, so
Yeah.
that'd be definitely to see.
Yeah, we also have, so for the Aegis there, we have the Aegis Amulet, the standard. Using this item makes you invulnerable for 2 seconds, preventing you from taking any damage. After the invulnerability fades, you gain a 20% damage reduction buff for 4 seconds. This can be used for a while under the effect of the crowd control. And then on the
So
opposite
it's like
side...
Aegis.
Yes, exactly. Yep. On I mean that's pretty much what it is. There's a 20% damage reduction associated too, and then the Aegis pendant. Using this item makes you invulnerable to damage for 2 seconds, preventing you from attacking, but allowing you to move. So that's someone would say, okay, that's like beads, but crowd control effects will still apply. So you're invulnerable. It's more like an invulnerable to damage, but not to CC. After the invulnerability fades, you'll gain 20% damage reduced buff. So, what are your thoughts on the Aegis pendant?
I love it. It is. I messed up. I'm in the wrong position. Tool. That's pretty much what it is. Because most of the time,
Yeah.
you use the Aegis because you've been caught out in the wrong position, or
Yeah.
your position has failed, and you're like, oh crap. But after time, they just stand there and still DPS you. but now I can pop it and move. So literally being able to pop it, move a few feet, and get behind my teammates saves my life. It's fantastic. Or just being able to keep moving. It's just beneficial. Now the Aegis amulet one that does the stun, I'd only really buy that now if I was against a CC heavy composition where they focus you all the time and it's always just like you're always stunned, because you know them situations where you've been like, I've been stunned and I can't hit my Aegis.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what it's going to be for. But majority of the time now you're just going to use Aegis Pendant, and it would also be great for you just preventive measures. You know something's coming, you'll hit that, but you don't have to worry that you're going to root yourself in and you can move out of the way.
Sure.
There was something about Hi-Rez spoiled something about actives recently. I didn't have that post up, but
really?
He said
that was the spoilers. Yeah,
he said that some of the actives actually has a cast time. Now I believe I'd noticed this because there's sometimes when you'll hit beads and Aegis and you're like, well, beads in general, I'll hit beads when I'm stunned and it takes a second before it actually clears the stun. So it's like, well, what was the point of having beads if I can't do it at the same time? I literally know it's coming, kind of maybe misinterpreted the stun out like that, but I'm hit the button and I'm still waiting for it to actually clear. So it kind of, they're looking to reduce that or take away the cast time on some of the actives. So there's been some cast time on the actives, so that's just something to know. Yeah. The next one, the Eye of Providence, got a big nerf. Well, yeah, it got a big nerf, really. Still going to be an item you're going to want to pick up on a support anyway, just because you're always going to be spamming out wards, but you're probably going to want to buy some extra wards as well now. The cooldown's been increased to 90 seconds at Tier 1, or just across the board now. Tier 2 now does standard wards instead of sentry wards, so you don't get that. Quickly get to Tier 2 so I can start the counter warding going out. And then Tier 3, you no longer get the super sentry ward that had no restrictions out and could just blanket the map, because where you used to put it was in like the red buff, because then it would cover a bit, or just behind the red buff, so it would cover the red buff, bit of the center, or just kind of around that area in general. It can no longer see through walls, so you actually have to obey line of sight now. So it's basically like any general sentry ward, it's just you can place it down. That's about it.
Yeah. We were talking about the spoils, and the post came from yesterday, during the North American tournament. He said the new Cali is going to be coming out this week, so we'll have another patch this week.
Jump and a dash, in it.
A new model and new abilities. Cali can jump and dash. I'll go ahead and post this. So the thing that bothers me here is like, you took a god that doesn't have an escape, and now you're giving her one with a jump. It's like, why? Like, why? Why does everybody
moaning about? I was always moaning about like too many jumps and dashes, and now look, we're getting another jump and a dash. Because clearly we need.
I mean, now granted, Nuwa doesn't necessarily have one, so I'm kind of happy about that. But it's like, why? She doesn't need ones. But anyways, new Vulcan Ultimate this week. It's going to be like a giant bomb per se, so they're getting rid of this like super
buff toad.
I guess they're getting rid of like that. They're testing lower cast times for gods like Alkwang, and no cast times on active items.
Yeah, some did. That's what I was thinking about the beads, because it takes a little time to go. But you see, like, I can see the Vulcan ultimate being a big bomb, kind of working like Ymir's ultimate, that it charges up and then goes boom.
Yeah,
that's probably what I could see happening there. So it's
just
give him something that's a bit more damaging rather than just buff his turret. So yeah, it'll probably work. You probably still won't. You might see him actually coming into play, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. So, on top of that, we'll go ahead and jump into our God section here, and these are kind of just the changes that we've seen for the gods. There were a lot of, we'll call them alterations and modifications for the gods specifically. So with with Agni, and this is Rain Fire, the warm-up hit area indicator graphic now shows 0.5 seconds earlier for both friendly and enemies. So just making it more visible per se before it hits. We saw Muzen Cavalry Swarm fix an issue where the projectile could explode if it hit an enemy deployable, which makes sense because they want to make sure you can retrieve it in order to get the buff. I think that'd be kind of cool. I think it'd be a good
Could you
idea.
imagine it going bang? That'd be
How's that
lovely.
an issue? Make it work. I want to see it explode. Boom! Blows up the projectile and also
I
blows
think
up.
that's because we saw Vulcan finally come back in for somebody to have a play with, and then the Muzen Cab went up against it, and it's like, what the hell is going on when you hit his turret? That was pretty probably what that was. So that's quite
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. And then I'll go through one or two more here. We have Aphrodite back off. The explosion for this ability now goes off at both Aphrodite and her target's location. Any target within the overlapping areas are hit only once by the explosion originating from Arachne, applying knockback. So it just lets you know, pretty much how often they're hit there. They updated the description to indicate the knockback applies always pushes enemies back to a set distance from her, which is 25 feet. Yeah,
That's a nice little buff. I like that. I do because you
well,
can
yeah.
cover a large area with two people. Then it works out quite nice.
Yeah, yeah. And then last two I'll go over here. Arachne now gains zero point 0.9 magical protections per level to be consistent with other assassins. So okay, standardizing there.
The
And
funny thing about that, I
Yeah.
thought it was quite funny, was I saw Pompon say this before. He literally looked at it and went, "Why buff Arachne? It's a small little buff,
Yeah,
but it's just like why? Because a lot of like counter jungling that you could do against Arachne, if you went in like a Freya jungle or a Hebo jungle, you could tear Arachne apart. The physical junglers would just destroy him, but if you had like a magical damage, you could really hurt her, and it would be quite funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was. We didn't see why it needed buffing. She is quite strong at the minute. And a lot of people don't understand why she's strong, and why they don't see her in competitive scene. Arachne is strong in an uncommunicated, in a non-communication environment. So like in team play in tournaments and competitive play.
Yeah.
Communication, like, oh, Arachne's in your area, just be careful for a little minute, and you kind of wait around. She can't do anything. But without the communication there, Arachne just stomps public games and league. It's just horrendous. And also, if Arachne's in your jungle, people need to learn to collapse on her, because she can't get out. So if you've got three people, you need to go in there in a team. You can't go in there 1v1, 2v1. She'll do you. You need to go in like a 3-man team to just destroy her. Like the mid on the solo lane and the jungler going, and if they're on the right side, or the duo lane, or pretty much whoever, just kind of mid lane and side lane converge on her and take her out. You have to do it. If you don't close her down at the beginning, she can skyrocket. And everyone needs to be aware at the start. She's going to counter jungler here. She's going to go for that blue. Be aware. She's going to go for it.
And then finally here, Ares fixed an issue where he could still cast bolstered defenses while continuing to recall. So yeah, I can understand that. Fix that. Defense kind of being able to pop that defenses a little bit more. And I'll let you take another few guides.
Yeah, Bastet, the cat call, the ground target, and now probably indicates when you can't use the ability. So now when you're trying to throw down the cat, you're like, come on, go down, kill someone. At least now if you can't put it down, it'll probably blink up. I haven't actually seen what it does, but it should indicate it quite nicely. Chunga had a nice little nerf, bringing her back in. They fixed the Phoenix, the rabbit at getting stuck on the Phoenix in the joust, which, you remember I was saying about that in that 3v3, it kept getting stuck.
Oh, yeah.
They fixed that. She also no longer gains magical protection each level to be consistent with other mages, so that's good. She can be blown up by magical a bit more. It's only like a 0.4, or is it 0.6 or something like that per level, but it's every little counts in these sort of games and everything like that. Moonlit Warmth, they reduced the invulnerability duration and the fire time by 0.2 seconds on the tail end, so it actually lasts that little bit shorter or something like that. Sure. It just kind of shortens down. It's kind of weird how they word it, but yeah, it just lasts that little bit shorter when she spins out. And then Moonflower Dance, they reduced the base on that, which is the free ability, which heals and damages now. So the healing and damage has been reduced from 50 to 170 to 50 to 150. So level 1 to 3, pretty much the same. It's more 4 and 5. They've reduced it down a bit. So they've still given her that early 4 or 5 level push Actually, no, it's going to be a bit more than that because you're going to do Crescent Moon first. Oh, I don't know what the priority is anymore. But it's going to take till she's like level 10 before you're really going to see that change actually start to come around. Anyway,
Yeah.
Cupid, general improvers made to jump for the little devil skin. They had to fix the little devil skin, so I'd have loved to see what it did beforehand to make them actually have to fix it. That'd have been quite funny. Share the love. They've improved the visual treatment when the ground target is invalid in this location. Share the love obviously is the hearts that go out, so for the healing and stuff like that. Ragnarok. Now this change here, Ragnarok's targets that are stealthed when grabbed are now revealed while being held. So this counts for Loki. So if you catch him while he's stealthed, he'll de-stealth. But I'd see these like stealth changes more added in because of the fog from Noir. So the last thing you actually want to happen is if you're still in the mist, they still stay stealth. So these changes have now been brought in just to fix that issue that I could have seen happening in testing as well. So Freya, just general things. She no longer gains any magical protection early level with each level to be consistent with other mages as well. So it's a slight little nerf. She's still got all the damage. She'll just take a bit more from obviously Hebo and everybody else. And Hell, the Inspire, the movement speed granted from her free has now been increased from 10 to 20% to 15 to 25%. So a flat 5% across the board. Other than that, what else do we have here? So we have Hercules Earthbreaker, fixed an issue where targets could jump to avoid being tossed. Now,
oh, I could see that. Like you jump up in the air and then you get out of that toss back.
Yeah, you just if you knew what was happening, you could completely screw over Hercules. That's why I heard a lot of that's why you wouldn't see him in a lot of matches, just purely because of that. Because if you knew how to avoid it, you could completely screw him over. Couldn't do anything with it. Yeah. Which I'd have loved to have known. I need to get in with some of these pro players to actually. So what bug shall I exploit this week?
Yeah, right.
Would have been funny. Isis General, her 3D targeting mesh has been turned back on. Oh, what? Oh, okay. So obviously the overlays and stuff for the targeting, it's actually got some 3D stuff actually put back on it. Mercury's made you look. They now correctly indicate it scales off of the basic attack damage and not your item's physical power. So if your basic attack's only like 150, it's going to scale off of that rather than 100 physical power. Well, however that kind of works, but that's another thing. Also, Sonic Boom, the Hydra's one, the Limit and Demise, no longer proc when the target is cancelled on Sonic Boom. So what people could do apparently was hit your ultimate, cancel it, then punch somebody, and just keep doing that. And you got the buff.
Oh, because you would benefit from the buff of the ultimate, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what they were doing all the time. So could you imagine that in a team fight, just keep hearing the clap? The clap's annoying sometimes as it is.
It is annoying, and I could see it being like abused ridiculously.
Yeah, but it's you generally didn't see Hydra built on any Merc. I've never seen him built, to be honest.
Yeah.
But if somebody knew about that, they would have actually done it. A nice Naja buff that I'd say it's more of a fix rather than anything else. His ultimate Windfire Wheels. Naja is now immune to root effects during the while dashing. So when have you ever had this when you're Naja, you go to Ultimate and Artemis and you get caught by a trap midway? No, that's no longer going to stop you. So
okay. So you'll go through that then.
Yeah, you'll just go straight through traps and stairs and stuff like that. So it's just something like that it shouldn't have been an issue before, but obviously they've kind of realised, we need to fix that. Sobeck's Lurking Waters in the high sea skin, the cannons now they weren't firing when the damage was going off, so they've now fixed that one.
Oh, okay. It's just okay.
So it just means that the cannons go bang. That's pretty much it. Samukon got a good. Actually, this is a very good nerf. It's a very more targeted nerf to his survivability, and I can say it's very fair. They've reduced his passive, the undefeated body. They've reduced the health threshold at which the protections and the critical strike bonus applies from. So from 50 to 35%. So you just get that extra 15% where you can damage him at full tilt, and then obviously the protections kick in after that. So that's a slight little nerf to his survivability. And they've increased Somersaulting Cloud from the cooldown on it from 90 seconds to 110 seconds at rank 1 to 90 seconds at rank 5. So it goes down 5 seconds all the way through. So what it does, it stops pretty much every time you ever push someone calm down and got his health down low in lane, it just ult and heal up. Well, now, if he uses it, he's actually got to wait like nearly 2 minutes before he can actually use it again. So it's actually, it does, I've noticed it hurts a lot more summon cons in-game. Just lately in the solo lane, they got a little bit less survivability, and you see them at a lot lower health for a lot longer. So it helps a bit more the jungler-wise.
Correct.
Thanatos got a slight, well, he got a more of a utility buff. So Death Scythe, the increased healing on successful hit has gone from 50% to 75%. This is his one that he throws out. Now, it's obviously the damage done. Now, you don't really get that much healing back. It's more it makes it less costly to use it. Because if you missed, because you use health to actually throw it out, it kind of it hurt you a bit. So now, if you actually get the healing back, it kind of helps out a bit nicer. Hovering Death, bonus move speed while flying has been increased from 100% to 150%. So you can actually fly around the map a lot faster, and it just means you can get to places a lot more. Now, I wouldn't say this is a nice like a nice buff to him, but it doesn't make his damage any more increase. It just means all them times that you got low and you could have been executed on, he can actually get to you now. So you just got to be like position wise and be aware that Thanatos is actually going to come at you. You can dodge, you can juke quite well actually, and I've noticed as well that they've let you target down to the ground a bit more, because Thanatos normally, if you like stood underneath him or kept juking, running behind him all the time, he couldn't actually land on you. But now he can actually land on you as well, like right on you if you're actually underneath him. But his damage is still the same, but you do see him getting picked up a lot more.
Now the next one for Thor, which ability is that?
It's the first one. It's the hammer throw.
Ah, that's the first. I couldn't remember. I didn't recognize I never even looked at the name of that at all. But what are your thoughts on him? I mean, they reduced the cooldown from 14 seconds to 12 seconds. Was there an issue there? I mean, the only thing I could see as a benefit is it does allow for a little bit more often of an escape if necessary.
It's just more of a utility thing, really. But to be honest, it's a nice buff that actually brings him kind of up. He's not really someone that's that weak anyway. He's still quite strong. Yeah. But there is a lot of times that you're like, one more second, 1 or 2 more seconds, and you could have got out. So it just means he's going to get out of a lot more fights safely and everything else, and also like getting around everywhere. It just gives him a bit more utility. It's just a nice little buff. I like it. I use it quite a lot, and it just means it's up a lot more for me now as well. So
sure. And then we also had tier fearless enemies caught in the pushback that our stealth will be revealed. I like that. I think it's a good idea. If you can catch somebody with tiers, the fearless there, I think definitely, they should become revealed. I can see this with like Loki. And then on top of that, we do have, now we have Nuwa, which kind of has the fog ability, which kind of gives us a little bit more information as well. On top of that, Vulcan backfire fix an issue in which Vulcan could be stuck moving backwards. That's kind of funny. Fix an issue in which Vulcan could sometimes get stuck in the hunchback pose. They also fixed Inferno Cannon, fixed an issue with...
The funny thing with that Inferno Cannon...
It would target towers. Nice.
Yeah, we thought that was intended. We were like,
That's a good idea, though. I mean, if you're going to have someone like Nuwa, which can pop her, the Clay Army and do some damage, I would think that this would be something as well. That you could go ahead and add as well.
It's what they've opened a bit of a can of worms, I think, with abilities on towers now. Because now you've given a god that can damage a tower with an ability. Where does it stop?
Yeah,
that's kind of. I'm a little concerned now. I'm thinking about that. But yeah, where is that going to stop? So,
sure, definitely. And then on top of that, we also have. Let me bring this up real quick. I lost my tab. There we go. The Magma Bomb updated the targeter to be more clear where the center of the blast will be. Now, Shablanque, Branching Bola. Toggling this ability will no longer interrupt basic attack refire times. On top of that, if you right-click, no longer cancels the toggle on the status. And finally, fix an issue with multiple buff icons showing up. So just a few quick adjustments there. Ymir Shard of Ice updated visual effects during the build-up. This should also fix an issue where the graphics were playing to completion, even if the ability was interrupted. Oh, okay. And finally, Zeus. The basic attack will now apply in electrocution death to the minions they kill. That's kind of cool. I wasn't sure.
It looks really good, the animation, actually.
Yeah, yeah. They kind of almost hover off the ground, and it's kind of like this electrical outline of the person as they slowly dissipate. So it's kind of cool. Chain lightning now applies in electrocution death to minions. I talked about that. And finally, same thing with lightning storm, but they increased the build-up time from 6 seconds to 9 seconds, and they reworded the tooltip to match it. So
it just means you can kind of, it gives you that little bit more of a reaction time to get out. That's pretty much it. Just because Zeus's ultimate is one of them ones that can, if he does a good one, can wipe a team. That's pretty much what. Correct.
And that pretty much finishes our patch notes for the new WA patch. Overall, what did you think about that patch?
Nuwa, I feel kind of, it doesn't have a place at the minute.
Yeah.
She's more of a, I don't know where to put her, really, at the moment. So I'd see what they're going to change to her. The Arachne nerf, I'd have liked to have seen something something changed a little bit about her, just to bring her down a bit. But then again, I think they need to balance Arachne round public games rather than the competitive play. Because you'll never get Arachne in the competitive play the way her skill set works out. But if you change her anymore, she'll just destroy any more public games. She's bad enough as it is. So I'd like to see a nerf come out there. But no, it's been some really good changes, actually. They've got some real good, and I'd actually say successful targeted nerfs. You know the ones that we normally go, but why are they nerfing that skill? They actually got Samucon right this time, and a few other ones they got right as well. So they're actually going in the right direction there. So I've been quite pleased with it, to say the least.
Yeah, and then we also have, on top of that, let's go ahead and jump into our guide review section. This is kind of our section where we pick 3 gods a week, and we kind of talk about them, review them, what our thoughts are on their current state in the game. Are they balanced? Are they OP? Do we feel they're strong? They're weak? Where their place is? Stuff like that. So, first 3 gods here. First god, I'll just kind of put out there, is Freya. I think Freya right now is very balanced. She's a strong god. She very much is. Her second ability, Pulse, makes her kit. People complain all the time, and so do we. I mean, we complain.
I hate the slow in it.
About the slow is so strong, but the Pulse is what makes her entire kit function properly and actually work really well together. Because if you think about it, imagine if her Pulse didn't have a slow. She wouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, she would have her banish, but outside of that, like nothing else. So I feel like in regards to like a CC or something. So I feel like she's really good. I've seen some people like trying to like jungle with her and stuff like that, and it can work sometimes, but it's really, really difficult to. You don't see it as often in some of the play, like casual play. What are your thoughts on Freya?
Freya, yeah, fine. I still don't like the slow on the 2, but just because of the way people build him, because she's just moved so fast anyway. The only thing I kind of wonder about, with every god, like her ultimate doesn't have a charge up. But if you think about all the other gods that have like damaging ultimates, you've got Thanatos, you've got Thor, you've got Apollo. They've all got a slight charge up. Yet Freya's one's instant. Gets her out a lot of sticky situations. Fair enough, she doesn't move very far. Then ones can move you quite a distance. Which, alright, okay, maybe that's why she hasn't got a charge up on it. But maybe give her a second charge up, like a Chronos kind of charge up. Just that like 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, just something there would be nice, possibly, because it's really hard. You get around so low and she just goes, pop, see you later, bye. So, other than that, no, I'm quite happy with Freya. She's the shredder. She's the one that actually hurts people. It's quite funny.
Sure. So, moving on to Guan Yu. So, we had the change done with Guan Yu quite a little while back.
I missed the old Guan Yu.
Yes and no. I mean, sometimes I love playing the new Guan Yu though, especially with the horse and the chase. I love the chase there. The amount of damage. I mean, you could even take the new Guan Yu and even go like solo lane with that. I've seen people in 3 vs 3, and I'm talking about 5s, but in 3s, you can actually see people go with Guan Yu and almost do like a bruiser style as well, because you're still able to do that with him. So I really like Guan Yu. I think he does enough damage. It's not too much, but it's not too little either to be like ineffective. It's not like he's your top AD god per se for attack damage, but he still pulls his share and is very effective. What are your thoughts for Guan Yu?
I don't like him. Well, I have honestly.
At least you're honest. At least you're honest.
Yeah, I've honestly not played him since they changed him. I played him probably once or twice, and then I went, no, I don't know this, and I've honestly never played him since. No, that's where I'm sticking. I need to master him, so I'll probably play him soon. But other than that, no. I prefer. Do you know what? The biggest criticism I have about it, I prefer the old ultimate. That's it. I just prefer the old ultimate. I thought that was great. 3 hits, bang, 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 and you kind of felt really like badass as well. You charge in, and you go, come on, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, but the whole Guan Yu did have a little too much sustainability, and he pretty much was like your hybrid tank per se. I don't know. I feel like he was too good. The old Guan Yu was too good at tanking, but then also being able to put down a ton of damage. So he was like a glorified like badass bruiser. And I guess they weren't happy with that and wanted to see him more of an attack damage because there's so many other gods out there. So, I don't know. That's Guan Yu. And finally, Hades. I like Hades in more of like an arena setting or a domination setting and stuff like that. Maybe even Assault too, but not necessarily within like 3v3 or even with Conquest. I just don't think he fits a role very well. What do you think?
Yeah, I just feel he feels kind of weak. Like, I think I've said it before. I think his silence needs to work without actually having the auto attack on it. Well, no, it's got that fear on it. The silence works, but I'd say the fear needs to work without the auto attack on there. He's kind of like an underestimated god as well. That ultimate is really strong. If used correctly, he's a lot harder to use compared to a lot of the other supports. If you use him right, he's strong. If you don't use him right, there's no point even just doing it. No point even trying. So it's just kind of funny.
Yeah, something we missed actually in the community section. I was just thinking about. Did you see the post about voting for a new skin? Actually.
Yeah, I don't know what I picked.
Well, here's the post. Here's the post. We didn't really go over it too much. I'm going to go ahead and bring it up and kind of bring it up on full screen so we can kind of just go over it real quick. So we have a few different here. We have this badass Anubis, and let me bring up on the other screen real quick here. Let me see here.
You know what it was? I didn't pick one because I didn't know which one to pick, I think.
Okay, so the Anubis is, let's see, they're calling him the science fiction Anubis, which is kind of this one you see up. Which this one, the science fiction Anubis, reminds me of like one of the
Stargate.
Stargate. Yep, exactly. See, I didn't even have to say it.
Stargate the original completely. Stargate. Yeah.
Yes. So there's that one there. You then have and this one is for Apollo, and this is the secret agent Apollo. It almost reminds me of
Did you see the Fred, the guy that actually done this? He's even got it worked out to how the abilities would be, how the animation would work for each skill. Great, how the guy's got it.
Well, this is actually hosted by Hi-Rez. Like, Hi-Rez Studios is pushing this.
I think it was one of his ideas. Well, I don't know.
It could have been. Well, maybe for him specifically. But yeah, because Hi-Rez Studios actually sent out a survey on asking which skin that you are most excited about. We also have another one here. This is the Soviet Union Athena. And it's pretty cool looking. Going towards kind of that.
I think they could work a bit more on it. Make it a bit better. But yeah, I like the direction. Yeah.
It's not bad. And then on top of that, we have the Mecha Fenrir. I think
like
that's cool.
That's a cool idea. It goes with the Bakasura one.
Yes. I don't like this other one here, Kiddie Pool Poseidon. I don't like it. I think all the other ones fit better. Now, granted, it is a little bit more like not so serious. Just kind of a little like laughter type of style. And then finally, which this one actually is pretty cool. This one is pretty cool. Which this is the one for Vulcan, and this is the Steampunk Vulcan one. It's not too bad. It really is not too bad. It's actually a pretty cool design. Do you like it or not like it, or what do you think?
I like it. It's got it's basically all the steampunk things as well. It's basically got Thor's hammer in it as well.
Yes,
I saw that.
I saw that. Yes.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
Yes. So that's pretty cool there. So pretty much that'll end up doing it for today's episode of the Smite Update podcast. Special thanks to the following listeners who gave us 5-star reviews, and this was actually on the Canadian store this week. Somebody actually sent me a message and was like, "Hey, check out the Canadian store on iTunes," and so I checked it out. So thank you to Stickman Ultimate, Nashikal, and Super.
You need
Corey.
to do a country a week. Just check them out.
I know. I should. I have a list now, like, of my favorites, and it's like, okay, here's Canada, here's the U.S., here's Europe. So those are from Canada, kind of hanging out in Canada. So once again, thank you very much for the 5-star reviews on iTunes from Stickman Ultimate, Nashikal, and Super Corey. As always, the Smite Update is a production of OctaneProGaming.com. Please visit the site for more great content, along with another community Smite podcast that I do every week called Smite Talk Radio. You can check that out over there. Also, if you want to hang out with Risty and I live, make sure you check us out. We go ahead and do the show every Sunday night at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/OctanePro SCII. Once again, that's Octane Pro SCII. I'm on Twitter at OctaneProSCII, and
that works out as well. 10 p.m. GMT.
That's right. There you go. The conversion right there.
Yeah.
And Risty's on Twitter as well at RistyUK. Risty, is there anywhere else people could check you out or check out some of your content or anything like that?
Just the YouTube channel, RistyUK, youtube.com/RistyUK. All there, all good. That's where I'm at.
Awesome.
If I actually put somebody up.
Once again, guys, make sure you check out all my content over at OctaneProGaming.com. Big thanks to our sponsor, TweakedAudio.com. And we'll see you next week for another episode of the Smite Update podcast. Take care, guys.